Welcome back to Kleppers Corner, Today in History, the show where we take one date on the calendar, shake it around like a snow globe full of chaos, and see what ridiculous, beautiful, history-making nonsense falls out. And December 19th? Oh, December 19th is loaded. This date doesn't just mark events, it marks turning points. It's a historical Swiss Army knife that slices through empires, revolutions, literature, space, impeachment, and the occasional redneck observation about how cold December is and how no man should be expected to do yard work when the ground is basically one large frozen chicken nugget. Let's dive in. Segment 1, Thomas Paine and Times That Try Souls. December 19th, 1776. Thomas Paine publishes The American Crisis, the pamphlet that convinced a half-frozen army to keep going and made every future political commentator think, maybe I too can write a dramatic opening line and stir a revolution. Paine basically told Americans, hey, if you're only here when times are easy, you're the Revolutionary War version of that cousin who shows up for Christmas dinner but never helps do the dishes. And Washington loved this thing so much, he had it read aloud. Imagine your boss liking one of your tweets so much, he makes everyone read it during a mandatory meeting. That's Paine's power. Segment 2, Valley Forge. Misery loves company, and company is 12,000 starving soldiers. Exactly 1 year later, December 19th, 1777, Washington's army arrives at Valley Forge. You know it's bad when the official military term for your situation is bleak. These men marched into camp looking like the world's saddest holiday parade. No shoes, bloody footprints, morale so low it needed a booster seat. And while Congress was doing Congress things like arguing about who forgot to order food, the army was eating rice and vinegar for Christmas. Rice and vinegar. Even rednecks who proudly brag about eating gas station hot dogs for breakfast would say, buddy, that ain't a meal, that's a cry for help. But out of that misery came the training that built a real unified army. December 19th turned disaster into discipline. With the help of a Prussian drill master whose English was so bad, he might have invented the first multilingual angry coach routine. Segment 3, Toulon, Napoleon's big career day. Jump forward to December 19th, 1793. France retakes the port city of Toulon, thanks largely to a young artillery officer named Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who said, what if I put big cannons on big hills and shoot big ships? Europe soon learned this man should never be given artillery or free time. Toulon was Napoleon's breakout role. If this were Hollywood, this is the audition tape that says, hi, I'm Napoleon, I'm 24, and I'll be conquering Europe for the next 20 years. December 19th is the day he went from promising intern to guy your generals warn you about. Segment 4, Dickens, Scrooge, and the invention of modern Christmas. December 19th, 1843. Charles Dickens publishes A Christmas Carol, the book that invented the modern holiday season. Before Dickens, Christmas was basically cold weather and oranges. After Dickens, you get feasts, family gatherings, generosity, ghosts of Christmases past, present, and future. The whole Hallmark Channel ecosystem. Dickens took one look at Victorian poverty and said, what this needs is a supernatural intervention and a guy so cranky he makes your uncle complaining about taxes look like a teddy bear. Fun fact, Dickens spent so much on fancy printing that he barely made money. In modern terms, this is like spending $12,000 making a viral YouTube video and earning $7 from AdSense. Segment 5, Civil War Chaos, Van Dorn, Forrest, and the Great December 19th Disruption. December 19th, 1862. A terrible day for Union supply lines, a great day for Confederate cavalrymen who really enjoyed chaos. First, Earl Van Dorn raids Grant's supply depot at Holly Springs, catching everyone so off guard you'd think they were throwing a holiday party instead of running a war. Meanwhile, Forrest is tearing up railroads in Tennessee, using tactics that can only be described as Civil War camouflage meets high stamina mischief. By the end of December 19th, Grant's entire winter campaign is toast. And if you've ever had your holiday plans ruined by someone who forgot to pick up the ham, imagine your entire army being forced to retreat because your supply officer did the military equivalent of hitting snooze. Segment 6, the Dar Mine Disaster, December's darkest day. December 19, 1907. The Dar Mine disaster kills 239 miners, one of the deadliest coal tragedies in U.S. history. A methane explosion ripped through the mine with such force, people miles away felt it. And because the workers were mostly immigrants, the tragedy got far less attention than it deserved, a pattern in labor history as old as capitalism itself. December 19th reminds us that industrial progress has a price, and too often that price was paid by men whose names never made the papers. No jokes here, just respect for lives lost and the labor reforms their sacrifice helped create. Segment 7, decolonization triple threat. Indochina, Goa, and Hong Kong. December 19th is the Avengers Endgame of decolonization dates. 1946, the Viet Minh launched their assault in Hanoi, starting the First Indochina War, the first chapter in a 30-year conflict that would define Southeast Asia. 1961, India ends 451 years of Portuguese rule in Goa. Portugal said, "We refuse to leave," and India said, "That's adorable," and ended the argument in 48 hours. 1984, Britain signs the Sino-British Joint Declaration with China, securing the future transfer of Hong Kong under one country, two systems, which has aged about as well as milk left at a mailbox. December 19th is the date empires step aside, voluntarily or otherwise, and the world map redraws itself just in time for the holidays. Segment 8, Space Race Sentimentality, from the first voice from space to the last steps on the moon. December 19th hits the space timeline twice. 1958, Project SCORE broadcasts Eisenhower's Christmas greeting from orbit, the first human voice transmitted from space. A peaceful message delivered by a missile that used to be designed for nuclear war. Talk about rebranding. 1972, Apollo 17 splashes down, ending the age of moon landings. Cernan, the last man on the moon, leaves with poetic last words, probably not realizing that by 2025, half the internet would argue the moon landing didn't happen. December 19th is when space history says hello and goodbye in the same breath. Segment 9, December 19th, 1998, the Clinton impeachment finally. December 19th, 1998, the day American politics said, let's try impeachment again, but with more cable coverage. Clinton becomes the second U.S. president impeached, and the vote breaks so cleanly along party lines you could slice it and serve it as a Thanksgiving side dish. Clinton gives his South Lawn speech, refusing to resign, flanked by Democrats who look like they just found out Christmas got canceled, but are trying to smile anyway. December 19th proves one truth. America may disagree on everything, except its love of a good political spectacle. In conclusion, December 19th is not just another winter day. It is a recurring cosmic notification reminding humanity, hey, big things happen even when everyone's cold, tired, and wishing they were inside with soup. This date has launched revolutions, armies, empires, space missions, and impeachments. It's a day where history doesn't whisper. It clears its throat, steps up to the mic, and belts out a ballad of turning points. Thanks for joining us on this December 19th tour through triumph, tragedy, revolution, and the occasional redneck observation about how nothing good happens after your feet go numb. Until next time, keep questioning, keep laughing, and keep looking back to understand what's coming next.